1974. This is the Gerald Ford US President administration. And in the fall of 1974, there were three guys hunkered down in the Hotel Washington in Washington, D.C. They were in the restaurant. You had Donald Rumsfeld, you had Dick Cheney, and you had a guy named Arthur Laffer. Now, the three of these guys were there discussing US tax policy. What percentage do we charge? What percentage of income tax, do we charge the population? Now, months before this meeting, there was a great discussion. What do we charge? What's the appropriate amount of income tax to charge the US population? Well, as you can imagine, talking about tax policy is really exciting stuff. Like economics, it's not that simple. People have calculations and graphs and theories and modules, not easy to understand. So we have a lot of discussion about tax policy, and then in late 1974, we have this one meeting in this little restaurant in the Hotel Washington, Washington, D.C. And Arthur Laffer, again, sitting with Dick Cheney and Donald Rumsfeld, pulls out a napkin. He pulls out a napkin and in 10 seconds draws out what the US tax policy should be. He solves and explains a complicated thing like tax policy in 10 seconds, drawn out on a napkin. Arthur Laffer draws this. He draws this. And it's not so much the curve I want you to focus on, it's he drew a picture on a napkin that said, as they say, a picture says 1,000 words. Arthur Laffer drew this to these guys to help explain economic tax policy. So here's how this works. He drew the y-axis, the x-axis. Here you have the tax rate percentage. Here you have the amount of government revenue. As you can see, lower down here, so if there's a lower tax rate, the government makes a little bit of money. The society is okay, we have some money to build certain things. Well, if you charge people more money, maybe about 50%, the government can spend more money on services, public services, communities. People are happy. Start charging people more tax, 100% tax rate for an example, who wants to work? If the government's going to take all your money, Linda, who wants to work? So 100% tax rate, government revenue plunges because no one wants to work. So Arthur Laffer drew that on a napkin, and he explained, without using any words, what the optimal US tax policy should be. Can you be honest? When you've gone to make a presentation, use PowerPoint, have you ever written lines of text and read them?
I'm the text queen.
I've done it. I have sat there, drawn out lines of text, paragraphs of text, and read it for the audience. Now picture this. Imagine having an engaged audience. See it in your mind, the engaged audience. You have a PowerPoint, you have visuals, you have something up there, but they're engaged. They're curious, they may be leaning forward on the edge of their seats, wanting to hear what you say. Is that something that you want? An engaged audience when using visual aids. Today you saw the presentations called using pictures instead of words with using visual aids. So I'd like to show you today, have you learn, is the 6x6 rule. Using pictures instead of words in visual aids, in particular PowerPoint. So the 6x6 rule is this: there's 6 pieces of pie. And this should help you explain most visual aids that you do. So if you'd like, you can take out, you have a napkin in front of you. You can take out the napkin if you like, and you can draw this pie if you want. So in any visual, whatever you're trying to explain, this should help you. So if you had a visual up there, maybe you're trying to explain who or what happened. How much is it going to cost? How much has the revenue grown? How much profit have we lost? You maybe want to tell people where this is all going on, when it's happening, how it's happening, how we get there, and why are we doing this? These 6 pieces of the pie should explain any visual you're trying to show. This will come back on the screen in a second. I want to show you something. What you're going to see is 30 images. you're going to see 30 random images on the screen. Try and remember most of them if you can. They're going to flash very quickly. You'll see about one image every second. So here we go. Are we all ready? 30 images really quick. That's it. Did you get them?
Yeah.
Do we have to draw them or something?
There will be a test later, but no,
Oh,
you don't have to draw them. There will be a test later. So I took 30 random images from the internet and showed you them. Now we'll review those 30 images in a little bit after this. So why do I show you those? The purpose is pictures speak louder than words, as you already know. So how does the 6x6 rule work? If you're talking about who or what, you draw a portrait or an object. So show who you're talking about. In my example, we have Dick Cheney, Donald Rumsfeld, and Arthur Laffer. So if I wanted to tell you a story, it would be Dick Cheney, Donald Rumsfeld, Arthur Laffer got together for a meeting. So we now have who. So instead of saying these names on the board, I might show the pictures of who these people are. When you have a when something happens, you may show a timeline. So in 1974, the Ford administration was deciding on tax policy. They all met at the Hotel Washington, and from that meeting, they developed a new tax policy. You could show a timeline. There's General Ford, the 30th President of the United States of America. If you're talking about where this is all happening, can you show a map? Show a map, or like a map of how you got there. So I may say, well, it happened in the Hotel Washington, and it happened somewhere in Washington, D.C. Where it happened. How much? How much profit have we made? How much profit have we lost? Where are sales going? What's our trend? Can you show this information with the chart? So I may show you the government revenue. The maximum amount of government revenue happens when you have about a 50% tax rate. You can show it with the chart. Or you may show something like this, like Arthur Laffer did. If you're looking at how are we going to go about doing this? Can you use a flow chart? Well, here's how they got to the new tax policy. They had a meeting at a hotel. Arthur Laffer draws the Laffer curve. Is the idea accepted or rejected? Well, if the idea is rejected, we'll go back to the start. If the idea is accepted, we now have a new tax policy. This is how we got there. Lastly, why? If you're saying why to someone, instead of using it in words or showing words, you can use an equation. If we take the optimal tax rate and the populations are willing to work, because they're not taking too much tax from them, we get the maximum tax revenue for the government, and therefore be able to build all that society wants. Those are the 6 pieces of the pie. I want to go back to those 30 images we saw. Now here's a bit of a test. I've taken some of the images that you saw before and some new images, and I want you to guess which one you saw before. Say left or right.
Left.
You're right. So you left? Yes, you are correct. Left or right?
Left.
Yes. What's
Right.
Right.
yes?
Left.
Left.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Left.
Left.
Very good.
Wow. I missed a few though.
It's amazing that you saw 30 images in 20, 30 seconds. They went quick, but you saw them. Think of the power a picture has. Say all the cliches you want. A picture has 1,000 words, whatever you want to say. Pictures speak volumes over words. So in your PowerPoints, in your presentations and visual aids, use pictures rather than words when you present. Mr. Chair.